Hi, I'm Paul Pease. We certainly had some great interviews this year and thought we'd take this opportunity to bring you the best clips from those interviews. Here is the best of 2010. Speaking of answering the phones, at that time I think they were going to put in an automated phone system, and what occurred then?
Well, they thought about putting in an automated phone system, we'll put it that way. They had, clearly we needed to do whatever we could to save money. And they were looking at the push buttons when you answer like most every other industry in the United States have. And we decided that was the wrong thing to do. I would prefer it to never happen in any business that I do business with, but in our case, since our customers are seniors, the fact that there was someone there to answer the phone in a warm tone that understood them, understood what their job was, meaning our people, it's one of the key things I think that's been driving our success and continues to drive our success even today.
You're the consummate engaged executive. You get out in the field all the time. Mm-hmm. Why do you do that?
A couple reasons. For the company, I'm trying to always stay on top of what's happening in our industry. Getting engaged with our salespeople puts me in touch with the customers. And of course, to us, our customers are our livelihood. If I know what's happening and need to know what's happening in our market, I need to be out there with my sales team, managers included, and engage with the customers and the industry that way.
So what percentage of your time would you say you spend in the field?
In the field, I would say 75–80% of the time I'm in the field with the branches, the managers, particularly even the counter sales and the inside sales, because I glean a lot of information from those folks regarding our industry and what's happening with our customer base.
You know, I take a real entrepreneurial approach to banking. I mean, most bankers look at it like, all right, we take in deposits and we give out loans, and that's kind of it. I want to get engaged with my customers. I want to help my customers grow their business, because if they're successful, then I'm going to be successful. But I love going out on job sites. I love sitting down with customers, try to make it a regular habit with all of our customers to sit down, you know, once a month, once a quarter, talk about what's going on. Bankers, we don't like surprises, you know, particularly when it comes to financial performance. But and you can alleviate those surprises by communication.
Tell us about the website and how you were able to keep the loyalty factor going with the dealers and distributors.
In about late 1990s, I was addressing a group of salespeople for Body Glove. And one of the sales reps raised his hand and said, how's Body Glove going to screw the sales reps and the retailers by selling products directly online and cutting us out of the deal? Because a lot of companies were starting to do that. So I said we weren't. So I got to thinking about it and started doing more research on online sales. And back then, online sales represented maybe 1 or 2% of total sales. But it was anticipated, and it still is, that over a period of years that would grow to 15% of total sales. Well, that's a lot of money. And so you don't want to lose out on a market that's potential 15% of your total business. On the other hand, that means that 85% of your business is still with your brick and mortar retailers that have been loyal to you for years. So you don't want to cut them out and make them unhappy, because I don't think that's a good idea. Many brands have done it, and a lot of times the reaction is very negative.
In looking at a lead by example, you return phone calls and emails pretty promptly.
Yeah.
How you know, when people talk about that, oh, you know, I can't do it, I don't have time for that. But here you are, a CEO of a company that's going through a lot of changes in Washington, D.C. and Sacramento. How are you able to do that?
I just commit to do it. I don't know how. I don't know that there's gee, I do that by X. It's really, I just say, I'm going to do that. And if I have to stay till 8 o'clock at night to make sure that I've returned every email, I stay at 8 o'clock at night to return every email. And I try to encourage that among my staff. I think, you know, one of the things that any business, but particularly one that's built around service, if you're not being responsive, you've missed an opportunity. So I'm particularly diligent, and there is a thing that a company we've done some work with called Sen Delaney talks about the shadow of the leader, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. So if they know that my guys know I'm going to respond, kind of sets a pattern that they're expected to respond to. And I think as a company, we're pretty good about that.
We're a family-run business. We're family-orientated. We feel that if customers get to feel that they're dealing with their family or part of the family, extended family, there's trust involved. Customers want to do business with you, not because of price. It's whether if you can serve them and service them as well, if not better than anybody else. What they really are looking for is someone they can trust.
So it also sounds like, though, you actually deliver on what you promise on the front end. It's not just go out and get an enrollment and get the person on board in your program. It's what you do afterwards that seems to be more critical in your organization.
Well, I'm a very strong believer that a brand is not saying you're going to do something and then doing it later. It's doing it and then saying you're going to do it.
And have you ever had a situation where you had to say no to someone and then some years later they thanked you for it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one example really, or one situation back in Sacramento in the early 90s, it was a publicly traded company, and money was flowing pretty freely back then. And I'm sitting at the table, I'm meeting with the president and the CFO of this company, and they want to do a real estate deal. And I tell them, no, I don't think you should do it. And they looked at me and they said, Kevin, we have 5 other proposals from your competitors. And I said, well, okay, I'll lend you. They were looking for $5 million. I said, I'll lend you some ridiculous number, like $2.8 million. I said, that's absurd, Kevin. Everybody else is talking about twice as much money, and you're lending it, half of that, and you don't even want to do the deal. And I looked at him. I said, guys, this deal doesn't make sense. You're using projections that are unrealistic. I'm just telling you. And really was told to leave the office. And I'm like, okay, but I felt in my heart of hearts, I've always been about doing the right thing, or at least tried to as best I can. So I'll never forget walking out of that meeting, and then 60 days later, I got a call to go back and meet with them. And I was younger in my career, so I grabbed one of my partners at the office and said, you're coming with me, I need some backup on this call. So anyway, went on the call, I sat down, there were the 2 guys, the president and CFO of this company. And I knew going in there, I said, oh, this isn't going to be pretty. But anyway, sat down, and the guy looked at me and said, Kevin, you're the only one with any guts in this town, in Sacramento, to say no to us. We took it in front of the board, we showed them the 5 proposals, we showed them your joke proposal at $2.8 million, and we've decided not to do the deal. And we want to thank you for having the courage, and I ended up winning didn't obviously do the real estate deal, but I ended up getting all of their commercial banking business because they felt like I did the right thing.
I dealt with a lot of clients, and I watched those that were successful and those who were not so successful. And I came to the obvious realization that you can have the greatest product in the world, but if you don't have somebody who can sell it, you don't do very well. And a lot of companies don't value the salespeople, especially the financial people. They look at the salespeople and they see the money they're making. And most successful companies, their salesmen get paid very well. And I've seen companies become destroyed when they started looking at the salesmen and cutting their salaries and cutting territories, et cetera, et cetera. And I think a smart company will basically take what I said. Without the sale, you don't really need anybody else.